Yo guys, Red Marvel here, back again with another video for, well, Red Marvel, basically. I know this is very belated and it's coming after Spider-Man, but I did watch The Eternals. The Eternals is on Disney Plus. For those, I didn't watch it in the cinema because I guess I wasn't compelled to watch it. And to be honest, after having watched it, I don't feel like it's necessarily part of the lore yet. It's not necessary. But anyway, if you're new to the channel, to like, share, and subscribe to Red Marvel. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch, so you can see the hashtags at the bottom of the screen. Click that notification button when I go live. I'm going to be trying to post a lot more videos on this channel as we push on for more subscribers. But anyway, so here's my basically spoiler review of the Eternals movie. And to be honest, I don't think it was as bad as people made it out to be, but it wasn't necessarily Marvel's strongest outing, in my personal opinion. So kind of a brief summary overview of the movie, and I'm saying this is going to be a long review because this has been out for a while, but I'm interested to know what your guys' thoughts are. But essentially, the gist of it is that you have these beings, these Eternals, who are told that they are from the planet Olympia, and they are basically sent to Earth. Their mission, effectively, is to basically only act and intervene in human nature when the humans are threatened by deviants. They're told that their job is basically to ensure that human beings progress at a certain level of intelligence to make the civilization thrive. Basically, that's essentially what they've been told that their purpose is, and it sort of starts with Ceci and Ikarus are kind of the beginning of the movie, and the other cast, where as well as Ajax, who's obviously behind, and they're basically given this grand sort of expansive sort of history of the Marvel universe, and the fact that the Celestials, led by a guy called Ereshim the Judge, basically started, created, so this specific Marvel universe, and designed, the worlds and suns, accordingly. And that's basically where things sort of go on. And initially, everything seems fine. But then you get these deviants, these bestial creatures that come out of nowhere. And fast forward a few centuries, and suddenly the deviants who we're told were defeated or were got rid of now reappear and seem to be able to heal, and they're kind of back and causing problems. And the Eternals like, well, we don't know why. It's an ensemble of getting all the Eternals who basically sort of went their separate ways, as you find out in the movie, because Ajax says go and just live their lives, so because of the disappearance of the deviants, assuming that they've been killed. But now that they re-emerge, it's almost like an assembling of the Avengers, as it were, and they come back to try and figure out the mystery as to why the deviants have appeared again, and they seem to be a bit more intelligent and harder to kill this time around. You fast forward on, and you find out that Ajax was killed. You find out actually later in the movie that there's actually a bit of a plot twist, and Ikarus and Ajax actually we're told basically the true nature of the Eternals, which is that one, the Eternals aren't actually sentient beings. They're almost like androids, almost like they're not from the planet Olympia. But essentially what happens is that their aim of the or the purpose of the Eternals is actually not necessarily it is to encourage civilization to thrive, but it's more for the benefit of the Celestials, because the Celestials basically insert an egg in the planet, and as that civilization continues to develop, that energy, that resource basically sort of goes towards the Celestial, to create an emergence of the Celestial, which basically emerges from the planet, destroys the planet in tow, and they basically go on and do it all over again. And you find out that the initial aim of the deviants was to basically get rid of the apex predators of certain planets, but then they kind of rebelled, and the Eternals were basically Esherim's kind of correcting that mistake, standard correcting mistake issues. So the Eternals basically do what they're doing, and they have, every time the emergence happens, if the Eternals' bodies are destroyed, usually their memories are stored. They forget what happened on the previous planet, and their memories are in search of who they are into new basically bodies and stuff. So that's generally the gist of the plot. It ends with basically, obviously, the Eternals stopping the emergence of the Celestial coming from Earth. With IKARIS obviously turning, you kind of see he basically backstabs everyone, and he ends up going because he thinks that he agrees with Escharim's purpose for the Eternals, and so effectively he goes and leaves, and ironically enough he flies to the sun. The story of Icarus flying too close to the sun, etc. We assume he's gone to fly to the back to the Celestials. We just don't know. You end up with the 2 post-credit scenes where you see, I think, someone from I read called I think Black Knight or something like that, who's a character, and then the second post-credit scene you see Eros and I think Pip the Troll. Eros obviously being the brother of Thanos and as sort of an Eternal in a way, and it looks like there are other Eternals that are leading the fight against the Celestials. At least that's the impression you get. So that's the summary of the movie. I mean, I said overall, I think the positives of the movie, I'd say, is that like the artwork and cinematography, I think, were really, really good. It was nice, in my opinion, to have a story that that was a bit more word heavy, that tried to add a bit more depth and grounding to the MCU going forward, because obviously with this phase, this is almost like, I would say, the space and time phase of the MCU. You have the Earth phase, which is phase 1 to phase 3, and now you have the space-time phase 4 to phase 6, where we're exploring the vast region of space, expanding the MCU cosmic universe, but also expanding the MCU time and dimension universe. I mean, you look at what Guardians and Thor can obviously explore. Then you look at dimensions, obviously with Doctor Strange, and then obviously Spider-Man that just came, and now time with Kang and Ant-Man and so on. So there's a real big expansion across space and time with this phase, and I think it was good to give this kind of origin or foundation so that the MCU could build on it. And that for me, I give props to this movie. What I would say the issues with this movie are that personally for me, this is always a problem when you have so many characters. You can see about 10 or so characters in this movie. Interesting characters, very interesting characters, but there's too many of them. And you don't feel connected to them. So even the chemistry that's supposed to be between Ceci and Icarus, it's just like, what is it like? It's have an awkward sex scene. You just don't feel for the characters really connect because there's just so many and there's not enough time. Even when Ceci says that, when they say they love the world, it's like, but do you though? Because you barely spend any time or barely have any relation with humans. And while I did love the exposition, sometimes the exposition, especially with the monotone scenery at times, did get a bit old, and I do feel like this movie would have benefited from being 2 movies as opposed to 1, as to try to fit in a lot of lore, a lot of information into one movie. Sometimes some of the acting as well, some of the lines was a bit wooden, which surprised me, so especially with the interaction with the characters. I didn't think the Deviants got enough screen time. Like, they just felt, initially thought they were villains, and then they just it was weird. It kind of the part of the movie to set up, like, almost, I would say 60% of the movie set up for the Deviants to be the movie, and then in the last final act, it's like, oh no, the Deviants are almost like victims, sort of, in a way, but not really, because they're kind of bad because they killed one of the Eternals, which I still thought was odd, because I think Angelina Jolie's Eternal, I don't know why she couldn't save Athena. That was strange. It was like, as an aside, like her friend who let her friend die or couldn't save him, though she's a fighter, but then decided to fight. Like, I don't get it. But clearly a lot of these Eternals had issues. Sprite, obviously, I get the motivation, wanting to be an adult and grow and be human, so fair enough, I get that. But yeah, there were just a few things where I just wish that they could have just given this a bit more time to just sort of expand on. It really could use more, especially the Deviants. They've been really unhappy with the Deviants, to be honest. So to go from building them up as villains for 60 something to then basically just ignoring them in the last maybe 20-30% of the movie and focused on the fact the real enemies are the Celestials, and Ikarus has just gone rogue, and it's like, well, okay, where do we take the demons from there? I don't know, but I would like, at the very least, I would certainly like them to appear in different Marvel movies, possibly maybe in a sequel to this. I know they do well at the box office, but I do love the lore they're trying to build, because I do think that the Marvel cosmic universe is very, very interesting. I love to see that explored. It's just a shame that this movie tried to fit in so much, and I think that's probably what hindered it more than anything. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on the comments. Did you like it? What were your thoughts on Eternals movie? Remember, like, share, and subscribe to Red Marvel. Social links are below. Have a nice day, guys, and cheers.